Let me start with a confession. I kind of scoff at people who have massive pedal boards featuring a Quad Cortex and a Timeline and a BigSky and an HX Stomp and all of those things. Isn't the whole point of the Quad Cortex that you don't have to have a massive pedal board to do everything? Well, enough of you have commented how much you love using your Quad Cortex with pedals, so today we're gonna try out the Quad Cortex with some different pedals, and we're gonna give away something, so be sure to stick along to find out how you could enter for a chance to win. Let's start with Overdrive. This is the Fulltone Fulldrive 2. It's the first Overdrive pedal I ever bought. I put it into the effects loop of the Quad Cortex, and I've also taken a capture of it, so let's see how the two compare. There's definitely a small difference. I think the capture of the pedal seems a little bit smoother and maybe a little bit darker, but the overall character of the pedal is definitely there. For me, that small difference isn't worth having a pedal board with 7,000 drives. I'd rather just capture this thing in a couple different positions and then flip through the ones I like for whatever I'm going for on that particular day. Now, of course, if you're someone that's constantly tinkering and changing their settings, I think having the actual pedal is maybe a little more efficient, because then you can actually just turn the knobs and have the sound as opposed to having to make, like, I don't know, 10 different captures of different sounds you would have. Now I want to try using a combination of effects on the Quad Cortex with a real pedal. I've got my signal running directly into the Quad Cortex, and then I've put this JHS Micro Pog into the effects loop. Then I'm using the Bender module, which they just added in the new update. This might be worth throwing on a board with a Quad Cortex. Now, I haven't really played with pitch shifting too much on the Quad Cortex, but I'm sure you could get a sound in a similar vein, but this pedal has always been a special one for me. I remember thinking, like, I need this pedal in order to play Cannons by Phil Wickham. Now I use it to play this, like, grindy sub-octave stuff, so, you know. One of the main reasons I haven't been using pedals with my Quad Cortex is just simply a lack of patch cables. I really enjoy my current pedal board setup, and I spent 8+ hours putting it together, so the idea of pulling it apart just to get some extra cables was an absolute no from me. However, Rockstock Pedals came to the rescue, and they were nice enough to send me a few of their solderless patch cable kits so that I could now be trying out all sorts of pedal configurations and redoing my board to my heart's content. And I gotta tell you, these cables are actually pretty great. They're really easy to use. Everything you need to assemble it comes right here in the kit. And as you can tell from this video, they also sound great. All the audio samples you've heard in this video, I've been using these patch cables to make it happen. I've used other solderless patch cable kits, and this one is definitely my favorite I've used so far. Just opening up the box, which is actually really nice packaging, you'll see you get everything you need. You'll get 10 different 1/4-inch heads. You get these really cool screw caps. You get the screws you need, you get a screwdriver, you have the cable, and the best part to me is you get this really handy cutting tool. All you gotta do is pull out the cable to as long as you need, grab the cable cutter from the kit, give it a snip, you push that cable securely into the connector's welcoming arms. This is their verbiage, I like it, I love the character. You're gonna bend it, add the cap, and you add a screw, and you just simply screw it in. The final step is to test out the cable with a cable tester, which I do not have, so I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way and plug it into my amp and do some gymnastics to hear it. Here we go. This is what all the cool kids do. Nice, it works. And it's really that simple. You can have all custom cut cables for your board, hand done by you. They were also nice enough to give me a set to give away, so I'm really excited to be giving one of you one of these. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win is be subscribed to my channel here, Justin Muncie, follow me on Instagram, and leave a comment below on this video, hopefully a positive one. And then in 2 weeks from the posting date of this video, I will select a winner at random, message you on Instagram, and then one of these sweet pedal cable kits will be on its way to you. So just in review, subscribe to me here, follow me on Instagram, and leave a comment below. That's it. 2 weeks from now, I'll pick a winner. My number one gripe about the Quad Cortex has always been about the delay and the reverb quality. Today I'm gonna modify that statement because I actually think the reverbs on board the Quad Cortex are really, really solid. It's actually the delay that I don't like. The second I start playing it in context with other effects, be it overdrive or reverb or modulation, it gets really lost in the mix, and it seems like no matter how I route it or how loud I turn it up, it still kind of sounds the same, like a little bit of mush. So I'm gonna do the very thing that I've been secretly judging people for. Gonna run my guitar into the Quad Cortex, and then I'm gonna take the output of the amps on the Quad Cortex, have them hit the timeline and then the BigSky. And then we'll compare that to my go-to ambient sound in the Quad Cortex. First off, using just the onboard effects on the Quad Cortex sounds really, really good. The Quad Cortex effects seem slightly more mixed, like a little bit of that low mid frequency has been ducked from it, so it's a little bit clearer. But like I alluded to earlier, you definitely don't hear or feel the repeats the same way you do with the timeline. If I was going for just overall best tone I could give with the Quad Cortex, yeah, I think using the timeline and the BigSky sounds better than using only the Quad Cortex, but I think you could definitely get away with using just the Quad Cortex, or if we wanted to be really nitpicky about it, I would say throw the timeline in the effects loop, but use the reverb on the Quad Cortex. That might be a happy middle ground so your pedal board's not getting gargantuan. All right, I will admit I can see why some of you are using your pedals with the Quad Cortex. It definitely sounds good. Does it defeat the purpose of the Quad Cortex? I still think it does a little bit, and I'm not sure that the extra 10 to 20% in terms of a live setting is really worth it to have all those extraneous variables, but it does sound good, especially the delay and especially the Pog. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like it, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet already, and I will catch you next time. What do you think, Bailey? Should we be using pedals with the Quad Cortex? I'm not really sure. I think it's kind of overkill, honestly.